Hello and welcome to your Kabir Unfiltered conversations about the state of politics and governance in this country. We're taking a look at County Track Index performance for our elected leaders conducted by Infotrak survey. These conversations are very simple, truthful and unbiased. If there's someone who knows anything to do with politics and governance, the state of economics in this country is none other than our resident economist and journalist, Richard Mwanja. How are you doing?
I am well, Jad. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yet again on this show.
We're the
big show. Jadiel Kabir Unfiltered.
Is there any other?
Should we call it now JKL? But now a low budget one.
Low budget JKL. We were talking about elected senators and members and women reps today.
Sure.
Our governors have been ranked as performing at 57%, our senators 46%, our women rep at 42%, and our MCAs 50%. The number one performing senator in this country is none other than Okiya Omtata, who has been performed and has been given a score of 59% by the county residents of Busia. Kirinyaga coming in closely with Kamau Murango at 56%. And Aaron Cheruiyot at 56%, tying together with Kirinyaga at number 2. Number 4, we have Makueni, which has Honorable Dan Maanzo at 52%. And then number 5, we have Nyandarua, Member of Parliament, Senator, that is John Methu, together with Muranga's Joel Nyutu at 51%. Of course, we'll continue looking at this list. Nairobi is at number 9 with Edwin Sifuna, together with West Pokot's Julius Murgor at 48%. Rich,
but actually, Jad, even before you throw that question my way, and I have to spill the beans for the masses. You know, Jadil, during our last conversation after the show, he was really mad that some of his allies in parliament never performed as he had expected. So before we start this conversation, and before I comment about them, then you have to accept that kila msafara wa mambo ukosi burukenge. And if your friends are going to be burukenges in this performance, you have to really, face the fact.
We don't have to talk about my friends, but one thing I do know about my friends is just that they don't know how to communicate. They are doing a lot of work. They are parliamentarians who are doing a lot of work. I've seen what they are doing. So if you're thinking of a parliamentarian who wasn't mentioned in the previous conversation we had as performing at 150, it's just because they need to work on their communication. I feel like most of them are doing their jobs, and I'm saying this just because they are my friends.
I'm told some of them are saying pesa imemwagwa kwa ground. Is that actually true?
No, I think for Infotrak, and I was there when they were launching. I was there during the county performance report on Monday. And one thing I did realize from the CEO is that these are conversations they have. So there are people that can call them. They want to be rated well. Sure. There are people who realize that these surveys are happening, and so therefore they're trying to reach her to tell her this is how we can do this. There are governors who want to be ranked. So I think this is why these timeshares refused to release their underperforming ones. And I appreciate what she's thinking, and I also, there are people in that conference that were telling her, this is a noble work. It's high time people know that these people are not performing, because of course you'll receive backlash from this index. That people will say, the ones that have been ranked well, it's because they have paid you. But I think this time she decided to say, hey, let me mention the ones that are doing well. If you people are angry at us for not releasing specific data, it's okay, but I will not mention you. I think it's all about peace of mind.
But this is a true reflection of how the ground is.
I think listening to her, there's a way you can listen to someone and say, this one has been bright. But listening to her, I could feel that it's a true reflection. She did a sample of 58,000 sample size. She went all to 290 constituencies, 47 counties. She did a really good job. And for this one, so people are looking at these polls. Most people look at these polls and they say, this one's just rigged.
But Infotrak is a name to reckon with in this industry. Very heavy into research.
Yeah.
So you can really say there's so much right home about them.
And the CEO, I can just say from the CEO, I listened to her and I can trust that this job is something that she takes very seriously, and she went to the ground, her team went to the ground and they did this research, and I listened to her for I think 3 to 4 hours just telling us what is happening in the ground. And that's why when she says the sample decided that Okiya Omtata in Busia has 59%, I can believe her. So I was going to ask you, what do you think about Okiya Omtata?
For Okiya Omtata, this is something that I feel every Kenyan will actually bank on this report based on what they have based on how they've ranked Okiya Omtata. Look, every Kenyan citizen, regardless of which side of the government they are in, and in the side of the government or the opposition, everyone wants someone who will speak for their interest, who will petition for them in their time of need. Look, forget the presidential petition and what Okiya Omtatah submitted before the courts of law. Even thereafter, when you've seen skyrocketing high cost of living, runaway inflation, he's been there to work for the people, not to work for those who are in government or those who are not in government. And this is something that I believe has come in handy in his oversight roles as the senator of Busia. Remember, he is not the one who really directs the money that should go here or there, but he really does the oversight on how the development expenditure has been undertaken, and if value has been got from what the government has, the county government has invested in. So I believe he's been able to strike a balance between representing issues, national issues, and also perfectly fitting in the role of a senator and discharging his oversight duties with the highest degree of military precision. Remember, I've just used the case with petitioning the government on high cost of living and inflation on behalf of the people. So that definitely means, and through the Finance Act of 2023, then it was a bill. So this is just a reflection of just many other works that he's doing on the ground level as the Busia senator. Unlike other people who will say they are very big, when we're looking at the survey for the members of parliament, we actually pinpointed a number of firebrand leaders, very voiceful, very huge on media publicity, but very little development record in their constituencies. Remember? But for Okiya Omtatah, very huge how they are, huge publicity from a person who speaks for the masses oftentimes, but also a huge publicity that comes from how much development he has done as the senator of Busia County in terms of just oversight on the development being undertaken by the county government. So for him, he's been able to really sort of strike the perfect equilibrium on both ends. And for him, anyone who's been doubting in this survey, I think this is the high time they'll now dispense their fears and really say, if Okiya Omtatah has come as the best, then true to the information out there, then Infotrak did their work with impeccable levels. You know,
at the back of my mind, I'm thinking about Ndindi Nyoro, who was ranked at 70% by his constituents, but Okiya Omtatah has been ranked at 59%. I don't know, do people really know their senators? Is this the case, or is it that it's just the fact that these MPs are usually on the ground more? Why do you think the number one for Senate is at 59%, number one for MPs is at 70%?
Remember, a senator judge, there's no allocation that is given to the senator per se. Unlike a governor or any other elected leader, say MCA or MP, who have allocated funds for their offices to trickle down to the electorate. A senator does not have that special fund to trickle down. So he is not really necessarily needed on the ground level per se. And even if he really wants to be on the ground level, then where does he get the funds to run through the county every day to go and inspect projects? For him, he much of the time depend on reports that have been forwarded to the senator, looking at how the government has spent on a particular project, some of the proposed projects, how much they're going to cost, what will be the impact, and how huge will be the impact. So oftentimes they rely on the reports, unlike the governor, who has the funds by himself, who can go down there and direct a project, and actually even direct on when the funds should be dispersed and how much will be disbursed. You get it? For them, oftentimes, by and large, they're all much. I mean, oftentimes their role is all about oversight, and for that reason, having no fund to their office, they cannot crisscross the county government like an MP or an MCA. So many people will not really be able to tell who their senator is at the snap of their finger, unlike how easily they can say, this is my MCA, my MP, this is my governor. And for that reason, I believe it is, if you ask me who is my senator, I can tell you because maybe I've looked for that information based on what I do here. But any other person out there, who is your senator of Trans Nzoia or Singishu County, it takes them a few double texts before they can really tell who they are. Unless you're obviously Edwin Sifuna, who's at number 9. Number 11, we have Samson Cherargei, Godfrey Osotsi, and who else is vocal here? I think that those are the only vocal names on top 11 senators in this country. Edwin Sifuna is quite vocal. He speaks his mind. He's in ODM. Listen to Edwin Sifuna, and Nairobians give him 48%. Does he deserve that score, or does he deserve a better one? Look, I mean, he's been ranked around position 9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But for Edwin Sifuna, I feel he deserved much more better ranking than that one.
From Nairobians?
From Nairobians, actually. But I think the latest things that Sifuna has been handling, maybe they sort of diverted his attention from the... But I actually even don't believe that, because as much as he's been handling Azimio issues, because he's the second face of the opposition after Raila Odinga, it is now the SG Edwin Sifuna, but he's still been able to literally legislate on almost every bill that has gone through the Senate. So when he's been ranked at, that is 14?
Number 9.
Number 9.
Yes.
I sort of feel it might be quite a little bit...
At 48% score.
I somewhat feel it's a bit unfair for Sifuna. Maybe he should have just come second to Okiya Omtata. But then again, maybe the people of Nairobi, I mean, you know, Nairobi is a really huge political base. So maybe during the sample size, there's some who maybe didn't feel Sifuna has been really vocal about their issues. He's been so vocal about Azimio issues, about the opposition issues than the issues of Nairobi citizens. And also we've been seeing him heavily criticize Governor Sakaja.
So some sense of biasness.
Some sense of bias from those who really delivered the reports in the direction of Sifuna's scorecard. But if you're looking at it from a very neutral standpoint, Sifuna should have come second to Okiya Omtata. He's been able to legislate on nearly all bills that go through Senate, those bills that affect every citizen, regardless of which position you are in. And he's also been able to literally be out there when it comes to now national politics, opposition issues. So for him, I feel there's been some sense of bias in his reporting.
I mentioned Samson Cherargei, heavy defender of William Samoei Ruto's government and what they do. He has been ranked at number 47, performing at 11. His score is 47, performing at number 11. Oh, Samson Cherargei, he's very vocal about issues to do with the national government. There's a time he wore some shades, spectacles, saying he's becoming blind because of all
the miraculous performance of the president.
The miraculous performance of the president.
Too bright for him to take.
Too bright for him to see, so he needs some sunglasses. What do you think about him? He's Cherargei. He has been there severally. You know him. You've talked about him severally with the Prof. Manyora.
I can't wait to meet him, by the way.
What do you think about his performance, number 11?
Well, for someone who's been so vocal like Cherargei, many people have thought he'll have become number 1. Based on just how vocal he is out here, and oftentimes even in Senate, how he's tried to put a point in almost every bill that passes through his hands. But remember, Jad, one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit is discernment. You pray for the spirit of discernment to be able to distinguish between the right and the wrong. And oftentimes our politicians fail to understand the difference between sycophancy. You get it? Sycophancy and being a person for the government and speaking on behalf of the government on their policies and all that stuff. That even sometimes you are really blindfolded to the truth, basic truth out there. And I feel for Cherargei, oftentimes he's been defending the government on almost everything. Even that which his fellow legislators in Kenya Kwanza feel it's a wrong move by the government, it's an underperformance by the government.
Indefensible.
He has always been there to take a bullet for the government. And I think that has blinded him to some basic realities in the ground. And that's even some of his constituents, some of his and people in Nandi could feel he's sort of big into, I could say, quote unquote, sycophancy. And not really the oversight role that he should be doing, that they felt he's our person, but he's not been able to have the guts to speak truth to power oftentimes. Because even as a senator, that role is all about oversight. But you need to speak truth to the power.
He's number 11, Richard. Come on.
He should have been top 3.
He's doing well. You can't compare him with the others who haven't been featured in this list. So let's just agree and say this man is at least doing something.
He's doing something.
You can't be number 11, rated at 47% if you're not doing something.
And also remember, he's not a first-time senator. We've seen a number of first-time senators perform better than him. You get it?
Yeah.
And remember, any person will wish to have a senator who oftentimes will speak truth to power. So, if you're not going to speak truth to power on many issues, people will take concern with, are you able to call out the governor when he's misappropriating the funds? Or you'll always be for the governor because maybe you're in the same coalition with him. And for that particular reason, he really digresses from the core mandate and the core standpoint that a senator should stand on, a standpoint of equality and a standpoint that it's all about truth, because you're just doing oversight. You get it?
Yeah.
And for that reason, I feel that's what has denied Cherargei to be among the top 3. Remember, if you're in the Olympics, medals are given for position 1, position 2, and position 3. And for someone as vocal as he is, he should actually be flying in the same lane as Omtata, Sifuna, and then now Cherargei.
Let's look at the top 25 women reps. Number 1 is Turkana's Cecilia Ngitit. Number 1, she started with Kirinyagas Maina Jenjeri. Number 3 is Homa Bay's Bensouda Joyce Atieno. Number 3, Tharakanithi Nduyo Susan Ngugi. Number 1 for Turkana has a score of 50%, and number 3, which is Bensouda, has 49 together with Nduyo Susan. Number 20, let me look at number 25 has a couple of women reps, Lea Sapiato, Sankaire, Mumina Bonaya, and Sia Damina Ondugo. No, what comes to mind when you look at this list? Which woman would you say deserves the placement that she has been given by the residents of the specific counties?
Cecilia Sinyen deserves it. I mean, and it's really assuring seeing the women rep of Turkana County. Oftentimes, it's a county that has been criticized to have little performance in terms of development, in terms of the performance of their local economy. But now seeing their women rep being voted, being surveyed as the best performing, it's really assuring. It also tells you that we were so used to vibrant politicians and seasoned politicians from Turkana, the likes of Governor Nanok, now at State House. Cecilia is a new name in the Kenyan political arena, when it comes to elective politics. But seeing her being ranked as the best, it's really assuring, telling you, Jad oftentimes really bash away the thought that, good leaders are way long gone, Daniel Moi, the late Mwai Kibaki will never get politicians as they who are close to those of those times. But when you see someone from Turkana, a new being to elective politics, Cecilia come the best, it's really assuring for any citizen. You get it?
Yeah.
And somewhat it bestows confidence, in the future. You get. But then again, if you look at someone who many might have thought will have come as the best, is Gladys Bos-Sholei. She's coming at position 14.
Yeah.
And I would say that's a very average performance for Gladys Bos-Sholei. Remember, Sholei is a seasoned politician. She knows the ups and downs of Kenyan politics and governance issues. She has impeccable record as a public servant. You get it? Yeah. She's really legislated on critical bills in parliament. But then again, when it comes to her immediate position that took her to parliament as the women rep of Wasingishu, then we feel it's a sort of an underperformance from her. Much can be written about it, but I think many people feel that she's got to a comfort zone. Being so close to power, many perceive her to be the deep state of this time, the total man of this time, the Ezekiel Biot of this time, but now the female version of that.
Deputy Speaker,
you get the Deputy Speaker and all that. So we find that maybe other roles and proximity to power and the path she's enjoying, being very close to the powers that be, might have really digressed her from the true bearing that she should be on as a women rep.
What you're basically saying is it's not enough to be number 11 as a so it's not enough to be number 14 as Gladys Bos-Sholei. You need to focus on being number 1.
On being number 1. And especially when people have so much confidence in you that Jad can be number 1 and not any other position, then you have to really deliver as they are thinking. And for Sholei, many leaders out here, even women leaders and even youth back in Wasingishu were waiting for her to be number 2 or number 1. So when people have so much confidence in you, you have no excuse, you have no reason to under-deliver. And they have given you all the support. That's why they voted you in. And that's why you've had other perks, Deputy Speaker, being close to the powers that be. Then what other factor is working against you that cannot be position 1 or 2?
Talk to me real quick about Homa Bay's Bensouda Joyce Atieno Osoko, who has been ranked at 49%, number 3 in top 25 women reps ranking. What do you think about Bensouda, real quick, before we go to MCAs?
I personally consider, Bensouda a reincarnation of latter-day Wangari Maathai, latter-day Thomas Sankara, latter-day Millie Odhiambo, much as Millie Odhiambo is still alive. She's come into this arena, hit the ground running, been so vocal, legislated on really critical bills, county politics, national politics. She's somewhat the face, the woman face of Azimio right now. Many people consider Millie Odhiambo to have really gone a bit low. So it's her and Gladys Wanga. And even many people have so much confidence that she can literally easily succeed Gladys Wanga as the Homa Bay governor. Reason? She has really understood her roles. Because even as a woman rep, you are working closely with your senator and your governor. And for that reason, her role as a women rep, she has been able to really get a firm grip of it.
All right, real quick, maybe we should wind up with our performing MCAs. Number one, top 25 county MCAs ranking. We have number one with Nyeri, whose MCAs are doing quite well according to the county residents of Nyeri. They've given them a score of 57%, followed by Elgeyo Marakwet, Nyandarua, Machakos, Homa Bay, and Murang'a, who have come at number 2. Number 7, Turkana, Kitui, Baringo, and Makueni. Your county residents feel like you're doing a good job. Top 3 county MCAs ranking by region. So Coast, Taita Taveta 51, Kwale at 49, Kilifi and 49. Let me just look at Nairobi MCAs have been given a score of 47%. Top 10 most improved MCAs are in Homa Bay, Murang'a, Nyandarua, Narok, and Kiambu. And then top 5 MCAs in 2023, that is Nyeri 57, Machakos 55, Elgeyo Marakwet 55, Nyandarua 55, Murang'a 55, and Homa Bay at 55. Maybe I can just look at the women rep, back to the women rep, top 10 most improved women reps. This is Turkana, Trans Nzoia, Embu, Kericho, Mombasa, Kiambu, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kisii, Uasin Gishu, Mandera, in that order. Interestingly, in 2020, Turkana was ranked at number 36. This time around, the women have been ranked at number 1. So you can imagine the women.
And actually, Jad, still in that front, when it comes to the MCS performance, I think one of the things that has taken Mount Kenya MCS, those ones in Nyeri who are at position 1 and those ones in Nyandarua, has been them being so much big there on advocating on real issues on the ground. Remember, Central Kenya, the real issues right now are coffee reforms, tea reforms, dairy reforms. You get it? And fight against illicit liquor. Look, every other time you're seeing the president traverse Mount Kenya region, every time you're seeing Deputy President traverse Mount Kenya region. Why? Because of the constant clarion calls by the MCS to address and fix the real issues on the ground, issues that touch on the people. And I think because of this being really vocal and speaking the truth to power on what really matters right now in Mount Kenya is what has taken them to be among to be the top performing MCS, those ones from Nyeri and those ones from Nyandarua. Every other time you are seeing Rigathi going there to fix coffee cartels. The president is there to fix matters with the dairy sector. Every other time you are seeing Didi Nyoro or Kimani Ichung'wah or other leaders from there talk about water penetration in Mount Kenya, the real issues on the ground. They're rarely talking about we want to get 10 billion investment from there to come and do this huge manufacturing thing. No. Real issues, very basic issues like their children plunging into alcoholism, farmers, their coffee berries roasting away, and rotting away. You get it?
Yeah.
So I think them advocating on the real issues has put them there at the top of the map.
Well, thank you for tuning into that conversation. I've been with our resident business analyst, Richard Mwenja, our journalist here. He hosts Business Glide and Siasa Brigade on General Kibera Unfiltered. Thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to the top performing senators, women reps, members of county assembly, members of parliament, and the governors. And we do hope if you have not been ranked amongst the top performing representatives or elected representatives of the people, you will find yourself ranked better next time. There's always a next time. Those you've seen Turkana as number 1 was ranked, I think, at number 35, or is it 20 something before, and right now they're doing a really good job there. You've seen Trans Nzoia governor who has been ranked at number 1, George Natembeya. He's done a really spectacular job, and his people know that. So if you think you're doing a real job, a good job, and you're a member of parliament, you've been elected, and you feel like you've not been represented well by this county track surveys, just because maybe you're doing a good job but people do not feel it, or you're doing something that people do not really care about, or you're not even communicating well, maybe it's high time you do the same. But until we do talk again, these conversations will continue throughout next week about the state of leadership and governance in this country. We hope we will help you as a leader make better policy decisions and informed political moves so that we can get somewhere as a country. This is General Kibera Unfiltered. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.